Hi friends! In today's video, I'll be going through my 2025 journals, and I thought I'd break it down into 4 categories where I take you through what I use to plan versus what I use to journal. So let's get started and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so I'm going to pop these to the side, and as I speak about them, I will bring them up. The first category I'll go through is what I use for work. I work as a graphic designer, and these are the 3 main things that I use from day to day. The first one is Outlook. So this helps with obviously calendar management and scheduling in any meetings. Very straightforward, so that takes care of that. The next one is a project management tool. It's similar to Monday.com or Trello, for example, and this tool basically lets us keep track of what briefs are coming in, what we're working on, who's working on it, and that's pretty straightforward, so that takes care of that. And the third thing I use is a notebook. Here's an example of a notebook that I use. It's normally whatever's available from the stationery cupboard, or you can buy this from Officeworks as well. I start from the back and I just work my way through. So this is used for jotting down ideas, thumbnails, and also a list of what I have to get done in order. And it's just very helpful to have this on top of the digital tools as well. And so that is my planning for work. The next category we'll go through are the tools I use for personal planning. So we'll start off with Google Calendar. So here's an example of how I would break things down. You can see in yellow would be birthdays. Anything for myself like appointments or tasks or reminders is in one color. For my husband, it's in another color. And then if we have things that are together, again, it's in another color. Okay, so that takes care of Google Calendar. Just cross it off. Now, while that works for me and I love that it's across my devices, my husband does prefer a printout version of it. What I used to do in the past is download monthly calendars from other creators. However, for 2025, I've actually created my own, and I've popped it up on my website as a free download, so you're welcome to download and use it if it helps. I'll pop a link in the description below. Here's an example of what it looks like, and the way I would use this is for birthdays, for example, I would highlight in yellow, and then I'd write the names there. If there are any events or appointments for myself or for my husband, I would just write the initials and write it like that. And if we have an event together or date night or something, and lastly, as the days go by, at the end of the day, I just cross it off. Like that. Okay, so that takes care of the monthly printout. Now, the next thing I'm going to go through are these 2 booklets. Which are these? The way I used to do this in the past, well, for the past few years, is I had a notebook and I would write down a review of the year and then goals and intentions for the coming year. A lot of these also sat in my journal. However, this year I've decided to pull them out and give them their own space. The structure that is in here isn't something that I came up with or I created. It's a combination of speaking with my friends, both offline and online, and talking to them about how they plan or hearing what works for them. And I really enjoy hearing about how other people plan, especially when their lives are quite different to mine. So for example, if they have a family, if they're in a different industry, if they're full-time, part-time, self-employed, all these things obviously will change how someone tackles their planning and goes about their day. So it's kind of a mix of all of that. So if you're one of my friends offline, thank you for your ideas and your suggestions. And for the ones that are online, I'll put a link in the description below so that you can visit their channels and obviously see how they plan. And if it helps you, you can adopt some ideas for your planning too. Okay, so let's jump right into the first book here. So this one is all around my personal goals, a review of 2024 and how I do it, as well as what I'm going to do for 2025. So this one here is opening words. It's something that I'll fill out just before the end of the year. And basically it'll just be a few words or some dot points around how I intend to use this and how I think it'll help with my goals. Okay, so first up, this is something I've done for the past few years and I found that it's really lovely as a reflection. So I break it down into months. So I've got Jan, Feb, March, and then obviously until June, and then the next page has until December. And what I'll go and do is I'll look through my Google Calendar or my journals as well, and I'll pop down highlights, really top line highlights. And it can be something really big that's happened, such as starting a business with my husband, or something, you know, like a lovely moment, like having dinner with our friends or having a group catch up, stuff like that. The next thing I'll do is I'll write some notes about what did I learn about myself in 2024, as well as challenges faced and lessons learned. The way that I tackle these is I do dot points, and I find that works pretty well for me. So the next thing I do is I write down friendships that impacted my life in 2024. For me, this is a very lovely way to look back and, you know, think about moments that I spent with my friends, whether offline or online, and how it's helped shape me and bring me to, you know, where I am today. And the last thing I do before I go into 2025 goals or intentions is I write a quick letter to myself. So what does life look like in 2025, or what does life look like at 36? What I used to do in the past is write this on my phone, on like a notes app, for example. But this year I thought that I'd try writing it down. So that's something new. Cool. So now we get into intentions for 2025. And this is something that my husband and I have done together for the last few years. So what we'll do is we will separately write down our goals for different categories. For example, for health, relationships, career, finance, things like that. We both might have obviously different categories as well. And once we've done that, we'll come together and we'll talk through each of the points that we've written down. And it's a great way to kind of bounce things off each other, give each other advice, and then talk through how we can help each other achieve those goals. The way I do it is I'll pop the category up top and then I'll bullet point my intentions below. And the way my husband does it is more of a mind map where he's in the center and the categories come out with points below. So the categories I have, which are normally the same, is health, relationships, finances, career, and skills. So on this page, this is going to be a really rough draft, and this is something we will do just before the start of the year, is we'll go through our calendars and we'll just jot down for 2025 if we plan any trips or if there's sort of any big event that's happening. And this helps us to block it out. We'll do it on here first. This can get pretty messy, which is fine. And then I'll transfer it onto Google Calendar. When we print out the month, then it goes on there as well. So this is something new that I'm adding to this booklet. Before, what I used to do is I would end it here. and then anything else would go directly in my journal. However, for 2025, this is what I'm going to try and do and keep it all in this booklet. So based off of my intentions or my goals that I've set, I'm going to bring 1 or 2 into Jan and just write down how I'll tackle it. And then at the end of Jan, I'll review it and then just write some reflection notes. And so the format is the same for each month. And then I have a review for quarter 1. Now, as I said before, this isn't something that I've created or I've come up with. It's definitely something I've seen a lot of planning people do, and so I'm adopting it in here. It's the same for the next, so then quarter 2. And it basically takes me through to the end of the notebook where I finish off in December here. And then I have a review. And at the end of the year, I'll have some closing words. And this will probably be what about this booklet worked, what didn't work, what I'll do for the following year. And so that's my booklet for my personal goals or intentions for 2025. We can cross that out. So the next thing on the list is my KB booklet for 2025. Now, KB is for my side business, which is called Karen Barclay. It's a stationery and textiles business. And in the past, I've used Notion, which is an online tool, and my journal to kind of track and record things. However, what I've decided to do in 2025 is use Notion still for a whole bunch of stuff like tracking inventory and platforms, but to set my intentions in here. So the first page here will be a few points about the business and why I do what I do. I think this will really help remind myself why I'm doing this, because I do have moments, many moments actually, throughout the year where I panic and think, why am I doing this? Does anyone even care? Does anyone even want to see my drawings as stickers and stationery? So I feel like I'll come back to this page a lot, just as a reminder. The next thing I'll do is I'll put down some highlights from 2024 and some learnings as well. So for example, I did quite a few markets this year. However, it was quite taxing. And so that's a great learning, to bring into next year. So the next section is around income streams. I'm not sure if I like this idea, but I'll see how it goes. It's an overview of the markets that I did, what I spent and what I made. And incubator is where I stock my physical products. So I'll put down the months and what I spent and made as well. So I freelanced quite a bit at the start of 2024, so I'll pop that down there. I'll do the same for Etsy and for my website on Squarespace. So how much I spent on it on the plan, and then how much I've received from shop orders. Now that I'm thinking about it, it doesn't really make sense because I already have this documented, and I wouldn't really look at this if I had to review. But it's fine, we'll leave it. And then I added this one in products, overview of 2024 products. So I'll pop down things like the products that sold the best, the products that sold the least, my favorite ones, the ones that maybe I didn't expect to sell well, but they were received well. And then how many products I have in total, and if there's anything I want to discontinue. The next thing I'll do is write down my intentions for 2025 and how I'd like the business to grow or the direction that I'd like it to go in. I didn't create any textile products in 2024, and that's something I really would like to bring back because I love making them. And so that will definitely go in there. And then on this side, I've written down 1-day goals. I want this to be really like dream big goals about the business, and that will go there. And so we come to the months. So what I'll do here is I'll pop down intentions for Jan, like am I taking on some kind of drawing challenge, or do I want to create, more sticker packs around Frankie the Hedgehog, and really like specify what I want to accomplish. And then toward the end of the month, I'll write down how it went. I'm really excited about doing this in here because I'm a patron of Jess from Planned by Jyla, and I'm on the workshop tier. What she does each month is she'll ask her workshop patrons to jump on a call or send in a message, and we write down, our wins for the month, our struggles for the month, how we're feeling, and then what's our intention for the next month. And I really like that. So I think having it in this booklet will be really nice to have an overview, and then I can just kind of submit my part. So that's really exciting. And then I have same as the personal planner, a review and a reflect. And I think this takes me to the middle of the booklet. November. Yep. And then I'll put the highlights of 2025 and the learnings. If this goes well and I like the format of it, I have enough pages to take me through to 2026. If I don't like it, I'll abandon it and use something else. So I'm not so fussed. It's more, does it help me or is it hindering, my goal achieving wishes? So we'll see how that goes. And that is my Karen Barclay booklet. So the last thing on this list is a business that my husband and I started called Oh My Hues. We started it at the beginning of 2024, and our intentions for it is to host art markets and workshop in Melbourne and hopefully expand in the future. So the way that I have been planning it, or the tools that I've been using, is Notion. I was going to see if it would go into another one of these booklets, but to be honest, as I was planning it out, it didn't make sense. And Notion is like, I use it, I have a love-hate relationship with it, but I have to admit that it is working, so I don't think I'll change anything. So that's that. And that's done. So just to recap, we've gone through work and personal planning, and the next thing we'll go through is my journal. So my journal for 2025 is the Hobonichi Techo. It's in an A6 size, which I haven't used in a few years. I started in an A6 in 2019, and from 2021 until this year, I've been using an A5. I definitely love that it's split between two books. I might just open it to show you. This one is from Jan to June. This one's from July to December. I will do another video where I place the cover on here and I decorate the inside here. It's something that I really love doing, and all my journals have that. So stay tuned for that. So the way that I use my Hobonichi journals is to document daily life. I put photos in there, I put quotes, any packaging that I collect, just small moments that happen. Sometimes I don't have much to write, so I'll just kind of write one sentence about what happened that day. But going into an A6, after using an A5 for a few years, I think it'll be pretty easy to fill it up. I think. So we'll see. I'll pop some examples up of some pages from my previous journal so you can see it is very heavily decorated with stickers, and I love that. I love all the different textures on the page, and I do really love to flip through my old journals and like run my fingers through the pages and just like feel all the textures on there. So at the start of this year, 2024, I was using this Jan to June in an A5 size, but around March, I did start to have quite a lot of projects going on. So I fell off for a bit. So instead of forcing it, and because I've been using the A5 for a few years, I decided to give away my July to December, and instead I used some undated inserts, which I can show you here. So this one here I used from, in June, I think June to mid-July. And this is an insert by Faded Chronicle and Plan by Jyla. It's still using the same paper as the Hobonichi, which I really liked. And so yeah, that was that. And for the rest of the month, I was using these 3 N1 Sterling ink booklets. Again, you can see, I think that one's November actually. So this one was from July to August 20th. And then I moved into this one, which is from August 22nd to November 10th. Oh wow, that's a lot. Okay, and then this one's from November 10th to the end of the year. And I don't think I'll finish it. I am this much way through and I still have quite a bit to go. So we'll see. If I don't finish it, it's fine. I'm not going to fret over that. But yes, so this was really like something different this year. I think having the undated just helped take the pressure off, and I really quickly fell back in love with how I journal. So that's all to say that sometimes we fall off, but it's okay and you'll find another way. This tick over here is throwing me off because those were up here. What if just pretend that's not there? And woo, there we go. You know what, it's fine. It's fine that there's 2 ticks. Okay, the last category we'll go through is documenting my husband. Now I started this idea in 2023 where I wanted to ask him a question per day just for fun and document it down somewhere. So the questions could be things like, what is your favorite dessert? If you were a sea creature for a day, which one would you be? And so he picked out this Hobonichi Weeks cover or journal and picked out the sticker as well. And basically I just asked him a question per day and wrote it down in here. Now this worked really well from Jan to June of 2023, and then I completely fell off and the rest of the year is empty. I love the idea though, so I did want to take it into 2024. But what I decided to do was change journals. And so I found this one, which is the Hours Journal. So the layout of this journal is like this. You can see a full week in the double page spread. And the way that I used it was, instead of having a question per day, I did maybe 2 to 3 or 2 to 4 questions per week. And the other days would be filled with a photo. So I created a template in Canva, and this is just an example of like a landscape photo or a portrait photo. And then I write a caption below it. I'll show you one of the pages in here. So I've just covered obviously the days that have images and the captions. but this is what the questions look like, and then the answers are underneath. These are all post-it notes, and I do have a lot that I've just kind of accumulated over the years. You can see I still have quite a lot left. And what I did was I cut them down so that it would fit in here. And so that's what that looks like. And every week is basically the same layout. Obviously these move. Now, while I would love to be able to do this on a daily basis, realistically, Sunday is kind of the day that I can fill out the whole week. And so what I did was I'd have the post-it notes kind of like in the corner here. And then on the Sunday, I would go through and print out pictures, stick them on the days, write the caption, and then move the post-it notes onto the empty days. And then from there, I'd ask him the questions. So realistically, that's how it worked out. It went really well from Jan to March, and I completely fell off until September. So what I did, because I just didn't want to give up on it, was I spent a couple days going through my phone, my husband's phone, gathering all the images from March to September, printing it out. I'll put a picture here or a screenshot here of what that looked like once I cut it all up. But I'm really happy to say that all the pictures are now in here, up to date. I'm going to do the same thing in 2025 with some really minor tweaks. So this is the 2025 journal. It starts off with the months. I don't use this, so that will remain blank. There's a page here that says plans for 2025. I might jot down some bullet points pulling from his mind map, so that's nice. And then it goes straight into the weeks. So I will do the same thing using the same Canva template for the images. And I'll do again the same thing where Sunday's the day that I fill this out. However, something that I think will help is I will pre-write the questions for the month ahead or even for 2 months ahead. I've been slowly collecting questions, so I have a list. I was going to type them out and print it out, but I just want to write them. I think, one, it'll help me use up these post-it notes, and I really like that it's colorful on the page as well. The second thing that I'm going to change is the printing of the photos. Now, when I get to the Sunday, let's say I've got 2 to 3 images, something that kind of deterred me this year was that if they didn't fill up an A4 page, even if I had my own images for my journal, is I would just say, okay, let's just leave it and I'll do it next week. To hopefully prevent that from happening, I found this at Officeworks and you can get it for $7 to $8. I actually can't remember if it was on sale, but I'm sure that there are different things out there and it can fit 4 photos like pretty easily. So hopefully that will help. Stay tuned for the end of 2025 when I talk about this again. But yeah, that's pretty much it. They do have a few different layouts here at the end, but I don't think I'm going to use it, so I will just leave that. But that's what that looks like, and I'm really excited. I love asking him questions, and I think he loves being interviewed. So I'm really excited. Just to note that I don't add any stickers in here. So it's purely the post-it notes and the images and the captions. So that's that. Cool. So that is this one. Okay, I think I'm taking everything now because we're almost at the end, but that's okay. The last thing I'm going to talk about is this brick notebook. So this is the brick notes booklet or notebook, and it has the same layout throughout the whole book. which is like this. So there's an area for a date, there's a larger box, and then there's a note at the bottom. So the way that I'm going to approach this book is to document the years that we've been together with images. So for example, 3 of these pages make up 1 year if I think about having kind of 1 image per month. What I'm going to do in 2025 is go through my hard drive and like our photos and collect, if I can, 12 images per year for every year that we've been together. And I've counted in this notebook, which takes us to 10 years. And so I'll be able to document at least the first 10 years. And I'll buy another one of these so that I can continue it from, the 10 years onwards. I think having this on hand that he can pick up and flip through whenever he likes would be really nice. And I also think that it complements this journal that's about him. So it's like images that he takes or that I take, or that family send us, and so that's in there. Questions about him, and then pictures of us. That concludes everything. Let me tick this off. Woohoo! So just to recap, the first category was around what I use for work. The second one was planning in my daily life. The third one was my journal that I'm using. And the fourth one is documenting my husband. If you're wondering where I got the booklets or the journals from, I'll make sure to leave a link in the description. So definitely check it out if you're interested. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm really excited to see how these tools, both digital and analog, take me through in 2025. I'm also eager to see what works and what doesn't work so that I can obviously continue to tweak it. Let me know what you think, and if there are tools that you use similarly or differently, I would love to hear about it. My next video will be decorating my A6 Hobonichi journal as well as putting the cover on. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you there. Bye!